My lord, may I have your lordship's indulgence? My lord, the returnable motion, item number 1, 539, item number 539. My lord, it is a motion of 2025. Since today, unfortunately, there is a 3:30, my lord, it may not be taken up. My lord, only difficulty is that next 2 Thursdays I am not available.
But the returnable motions are taken on other days also, Thursday.
Well,
Apart from Thursdays, returnable motion, excepting Friday, returnable motions will be
my
taken.
lord, it is a motion of 2025, my lord. That is
Never
why.
mind, 2025 কি অন্যদিন নিন আমরা।
And if it retains its position, it will be taken up on Monday, I believe.
Monday to on Monday.
It's
Who is on the other side? State.
State. State, private respondents would also. We'll inform them, my lord. But today, in any event, it will not be taken up. So it
Okay.
retains its
Yes.
position. And on Monday, it will
Monday
be there in the list. I'm deep to it.
Item number 43.
Yes. What is this matter? For orders. Who is for the state? কত নম্বর কত? Only 43? ও আচ্ছা। দাও। District petition has been filed challenging the order of termination issued with a memo number 176 capital A within bracket /13-com/R-Roman 2 dated 10th March 2022, passed by Additional District Magistrate General and Additional District Program Coordinator MGN REGS Malda. What is the 16th March order?
Communicated
On 16th.
16th of March.
When is 10th March? The original order is 10th March. The paragraph. The petitioner contains that he was engaged as he was appointed by the competent authority to the post of VLE within bracket village level entrepreneur of Sripur Roman 2 Gram Panchayat under Rotua 2 Panchayat Samiti, Malda, in the year 2009 under Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, मनरेगा মানে যেটা থাকে শর্ট ফর্মে ইন শর্ট ব্র্যাকেট করুন in short MGNREGS. The petitioner performed his duties sincerely and diligently to the satisfaction of the authorities. However, while discharging his duties as VLE, village, ওটাও in short VLE করে দেবেন। এই যে এদিকটা কি একটু ঠান্ডা কমানো যাবে? VLE of said Sri Jadpur 2 Gram Panchayat, the petitioner was all on a sudden served with a notice of show cause VD memo number 71/R2 dated January 14, 2022 by the Block Development Officer, Rotua 2 Development Block. ওটা ব্লক ডেভেলপমেন্ট অফিসের আগে না রেসপন্স নাম্বার 8 করে দেবেন। On the ground of lapses on his duty assigned for execution of certain MGNREG schemes. On 17 January 2022, the petitioner duly replied to the so-called notice, aforesaid so-called notice. However, the additional district magistrate is response number. However, the respondent number 4. Respondent number 4. You are for the state. Respondent number 4 terminated the service of the petitioner VD memo number 176 capital A/13com/R2 dated 10th March 2022. Without considering any aspect of delinquency or non-compliances on the part of the petitioner. Hence this writ petition. Mr. Tanmoy Chattopadhyay. Mr. Tanmoy Chattopadhyay, learned advocate for the petitioner, submitted that the Department of Panchayats and Rural Development Department VD notification under memo number 4595-PN/O/1/35-19/14 dated 29 September 2014 has laid down the guidelines in the matter of termination/continuation of contract of all contractually engaged personnel under the Manrega. The authorities, while terminating the petitioner, has not adhered to the rules laid down vide such notification, which is arbitrary and illegal. দিয়েছে ওগুলো দিয়েছে এই জাজমেন্ট কোথায় পিটিশনের হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে the action of the respondent authorities is violative of the natural justice and victimization of the petitioner. He seeks that the petitioner be reinstated to his post and the impugned order of termination be set aside. ওটার আগে করে দেবেন। He seeks that the impugned order be set aside and the petitioner be reinstated to his post and direction be issued upon the authority for entitling the petitioner to draw regular wages as well as back wages. To buttress his contention, he relied on the following decisions. একটা হচ্ছে Dipali Gundu Survey, 2013, Volume 10, SCC 324, number 1. Dinabandhu Rai versus State of West Bengal and others. It is 2019 SCC online Calcutta 1000. What is number দেখে নেবে না 2024 SCC online Calcutta 9254 Calcutta 9254. Twenty-11 was SCC online. I suppose this is not apply in this case because we have a procedure. In this case, there is a procedure. In that case, there was no procedure that was court directed. And court has also set out the procedure in that end. So this will not be, Sure. Paragraph 14 की बोल के देखें। He also indicates that abrupt termination of the petitioner without following the procedure and guidelines laid down is violative of fundamental principles of natural justice. And he relies on, this is a reported judgment. Jaggo.
Given my lord. Yes, my lord. 2024 INSC 1034.
Jaggo versus Union of India 2024 INSC 1034. 1034. On the contrary, Mr. Joyanto Samanto, learned advocate for the state, at the outset submits that the writ petition is not maintainable in the eye of law. Even since the issue raised by the petitioner cannot be brought within the fold of Article 226 of the Constitution of India. Since the petitioner is a since the service of the petitioner is purely contractual in nature. And no subsisting legal and enforceable right is in favor of the petitioner. He relies on the decision of this court passed in 2019 SCC Online Calcutta 9241. The forum of order. He also submits that there has been unexplained delay in filing of the writ petition, and therefore the writ petition should be dismissed in limine. What is this? This is Joydeep Mondal. It is reportable on
2023 SCC Online Cal 1032.
what do you know? 2020.
The online
That is it. They have relied on that.
Joydeep Mondal versus KMC and others. 2023 SCC Online Cal 1032.
Joydeep Mondal versus Kolkata Municipal Corporation. নাম্বারটা কোনটা ছিল? In Adani Power, which paragraph was relied upon?
But this was relied upon to submit to your lordship that every document has to be read as a whole.
34. He further submitted that the state has applied the guidelines framed by the authority to certain extent, save and except the clause 5 dealing with article of charges had not been complied with. Therefore, it cannot be said that the state has totally not complied with the guidelines. Referring to the decision of Honorable Supreme Court passed in Adani Power Mundra Limited, it is SCC 2019-19 SCC 9. he submits at online not SEC 19. He submits that he relied on 53. Documents are to be read as a whole. Sure. Further, relying on the decision of Honorable Supreme Court 1, 1977, Volume 2 SCC 256, 1997 1 SCC 444, and 2020 18 SCC 752. He submits that the principles of natural justice are not inflexible and may differ in different circumstances. Rules of natural justice cannot remain the same, applying to all conditions. In the facts and circumstances of this case, there is no such palpable violation of principles of natural justice. He also indicates that the back wages were directed by this court in Sheikh Abdul Ahad Ali Supra, since the court found that there was no sufficient compliance of principle of natural justice, which is distinguishable from the facts of the present case. In light of his above submissions, he prays for dismissal of the writ petition. No, he prays that the authority be directed to proceed in terms of the guidelines, and the petitioner is not entitled to back wages. Having heard the learned advocates for respective parties, the only issue which falls for consideration is whether the termination of the petitioner vide notification dated 10th March 2022 is acted in terms of the guidelines or not. Before deciding such issue, since the maintainability of the writ petition has been raised on behalf of the state, it would be apposite to deal with such issue at the outset. The facts of the case clearly indicates that a show-cause notice was issued to the petitioner by the it's block development officer or block development officer, respond number 8, and reply has been made by the petitioner to such show cause. The petitioner contains that the guidelines as laid down by the concerned department has not been adhered to. Referring to Nurjahan Khatun, the state contains that the issues raised in the writ petition cannot come within the fold of Article 226 of the Constitution of India. In the aforesaid decision, the court observes that unless any palpable illegality or perversity or arbitrariness or malafide exercise of power and or authority can be clearly shown from face of the records of a particular case by the writ petitioner, any issue arising out of or centering around engagement of an Asha Karmi worker, which is purely contractual in nature, does not have the trappings or rigors of public service per se, cannot be subject matter for adjudication by a court exercising writ jurisdiction under Article 226 of the Constitution of India. Now, bearing in mind the aforesaid proposition laid down by this Honorable Court, upon perusal of the upon perusal the relevant portion of the guideline is reproduced here under. এখানে page, what is the page? 26. এখান থেকে নিয়ে নেবে পুরোটা, ঠিক আছে? এইগুলো এগুলো সব কোট করে দেবে 10 অব্দি, 1 to 10, 14 অব্দি আছে, সরি, এটা দিয়ে দেবে 14-এ, ঠিক আছে? মেমো নাম্বার এগুলো দিতে হবে না, টু হ্যান ত্যান এগুলো করতে হবে না, এইটা 1 to 14 বলো। Though so-cause notice was issued to the petitioner against which reply has been submitted, but the said guidelines clearly lays down that if the appointing authority is not satisfied with such reply, he will serve article of charges with supporting documents fixing date of hearing within bracket giving 15 days time bracket close where the employee will be heard. He will also be allowed to submit a written reply to the article of charges. Admittedly, there is infraction in adhering in application of the clause 5 of the guidelines. Therefore, there is judgment কোথায় গেল? Therefore, there is malafide exercise of power by the authority on the face of it. Therefore, the writ petition is very much maintainable under Article 226 of the Constitution of India. As discussed above, the non-adhering to the guidelines laid down by the department while terminating the petitioner suggests there is violation of principle of natural justice. Learned advocate for the state has tried to impress upon the court that the principle of natural justice has not been violated in the present case, since show cause has been issued to the petitioner and he has also given a reply, relying on some propositions of law laid down by the Honorable Supreme Court. However, upon going through the decision cited, it is found that factually those are distinguishable. Which is that decision where the back wages you have claimed, one is Justice Sengupta's order and the Supreme Court.
24 is the mirror that
From the above, it is found that since the guidelines have not been followed, the impugned order dated 10th March 2022 communicated to the petitioner with a letter dated 16th March 2022 of the additional response number 4, Additional District Magistrate General and Additional District Program Coordinator Manrega, MGNREGS Malda, is liable to be set aside. Accordingly, order dated or opor ekta order ache 10th March 2022 OMO is set aside. The in Dipali, which paragraph you 38.5. Now the question arises whether the petitioner is entitled to the back wages. আচ্ছা ওর আগে একটা তুমি পড়ো, back wages এর আগে একটা সেট অ্যাসাইড হলো, and the respondent authorities are granted liberty to initiate a proper inquiry to initiate proceedings in terms of the guidelines dated 29 September 2014 of the Panchayat Department within a period of 6 weeks from date of communication of this order. In the meantime, the petitioner shall be entitled to draw regular wages from the respondent authorities. Now, with regard to the back wages, learned advocate for the state has harped much on the point that there was no violation of principles of natural justice, hence the question of payment of back wages does not arise. At this stage, it will be opposite to reproduce relevant paragraph in Dipali Gundu Sarvese. এইবারে গরম লাগছে, একটু বাড়িয়ে তাহলে কাইন্ডলি। এটা 38.5টা কোট করবেন। Bearing in mind the proposition laid down by the Honorable Supreme Court as well as this court in Sheikh Abdul Ahad Ali, this court is of the opinion that the petitioner is entitled to back wages. With the aforesaid observation, the writ petition stands disposed of. You'll be entitled to draw the regular wages as well as the back wages get, and within 6 weeks they will initiate proceedings or whatever before termination following the guidelines. Sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Item number 44.
My lord, I'm appearing for this case.
Hmm.
My lord,
Pradhan?
my junior is there with the report, my lord.
There is no junior.
My junior is there, Shubhra Nag.
Yes.
Miss Shubhra Nag, junior. She will hand over the report, my lord. Kindly. Have you received the report, my lord?
Just a minute.
I have a question. This is regarding tender matter. Will kindly come to page 18. Page 18 is the tender where the petitioner participated.
Yes. This is one work,
One word, my lord.
pathway of CC Road. Yes.
Now, my lord, kindly come to page 22. My registration certificate. Name is Pasha Enterprise. Trade name is Pasha Enterprise. Constitution of business is partnership. So, my lord, being a partnership firm, I have this GST registration. And next page, that's my GST details.
Hmm.
Page 23 as well as page 24. Now, I participated in the tender process. Now, the summary sheet appears at page 33. In the technical bit, I have been rejected.
Same.
Page 30, serial number 3, Pasha Enterprise rejected. Now, the reason shown is partnership did not registered. Right hand side, Malo. Now, kindly have a look who signed this. Or essentially, the signature of the Nirman Shahayok, executive officer as well as secretary, those are missing as earlier cases. Now, petitioner's objection, that's at page 29.
Yes.
Now, that's pending. Now, one thing I must satisfy before Lordship, kindly have a look this. I got the entire Xerox for my lord, the procurement manual. Now, this NIT, my lord, kindly come to NIT once again. Start as page 18, and the conditions are at page 19. It was an open tender. Anybody can participate, be it individual, be it company, or be it my lord, partnership firm. The eligibility criteria are given below page 19, my lord. The credentials should be submitted, uploaded at least 60% of the amount put to the tender support. This is one. Next, the credentials should be in the name and style of the intending tenderer only, and not in the name and or style of any of the partners. Next, income tax return should be submitted. 4, valid trade registration license, so and so. Now, 5, a prospective bidder shall be allowed to participate in the work either in the capacity of individual or as a partner of a firm. So both were allowed, my lord. Next, the materials or particulars used for this kind of job should require at least 3 years manufacturing warranty, so and so. 7, the partnership firm shall upload the registered partnership deed and the company must furnish the article of association and memorandum. So if it is read in like this, then it's, my lord, it appears that we are required to upload our partnership registration. If in this way it's read. But your lordship knows that in terms of Partnership Act, the registration of partnership is not required. Now, individual is allowed, as well as, my lord, partnership firm is allowed, even a partner is allowed. Now, could be for those partnership who are registered. Now, may I rely the clause of that particular procurement manual? Kindly come to page 19 of that manual. Right hand side bottom, my lord, your lordship will get the page number, the block.
Yeah.
Lordship, page 19. 6.7, requirement of credential. Credibility, eligibility, or credential, whichever term is used in the West Bengal Panchayat Gram Panchayat Accounts Audit and Budget Rules 2007 and its amendment, carries significant interpretation in case of a judging basis requirements of an individual, firms, or company to participate in the tender process. Past experience, so and so, so and so. Now, 6.7.1. When an individual, firm, or company intends to participate in a tender process for work against any particular program or scheme should have the following basic requirements: valid VAT registration certificate, PAN with at least 3 years income tax return, professional tax registration certificate with current challan, trade registration certificate, license from local body. A bidder may also apply for tender without VAT registration certificate. In such situation, appropriate charges may be applicable as per norms. So these are the credentials. And 6.7.2, another kind of credential needed to participate in the tender process for work contract by an individual, firms, or company to produce the required documents to justify past experiences. Now, it's not a case, or there is no condition that only the registered partnership firm can participate. So that is to be read in light of this, that if you are a registered partnership firm, you are to upload all these things. Now, this could be adjudged rightly had there been presence of the Nirman Sahayak as well as executive officers who are a part in terms of, well, kindly have a look to page 17 of that particular procurement manual. Page 17 is 6.5, norms related to tender process. Now, 6.5, page 17, got 6.5, then kindly have a look clause 4, the last paragraph of page 17. All tenders received in time shall be opened in presence of attending bidders at the time and place as stated in the notice by a committee of any 2 or more functionaries, member, or employees of Gram Panchayat as may be authorized by the Ortho or so-and-so Samiti. It is mandatory. The Ortho Porikalpana Upasamiti shall authorize executive assistant, GP secretary, in the event of the post of EAs remain vacant, the Nirman Sahayak, and 1 member of the opposition for this purpose. So they have bypassed all these things to come to a conclusion as are favorable for them. That's the reason, my lord, my rejection at page 30 without adhering these conditions or without proper interpretation, and my complaint, that is page 29, before the block development officer.
But then you have a deed. You have uploaded the deed. No.
We are not registered partnership firm. Registration is not required.
Then why this clause has been given?
If a firm is registered, then he has to upload. If a company always needs the registration, your lordship knows. In case of company, there must be, my lord, memorandum of association. There is no requirement in this procurement manual to have a registered partnership firm. When an individual person can participate, no registration is required. Had it been a case that only the registered organizations are being allowed, then it would have been, my lord, strictly interpreted. So let that be adjudged and or, my lord, inquired by the block development officer, who is the competent authority.
State.
Madam, for the state, I've got the instruction for the video.
My lord, kindly allow me
Yes.
to make my submission, my lord.
Hmm.
My lord, accordingly, the office, block development officer, now the development block, directed Pradhan of Raipur Gram Panchayat to submit all intended documents before the undersigned for checking on 17 to 25 by memo number 656 dated 12 to 25. But Pradhan of Raipur Gram Panchayat failed to produce those above mentioned documents on 17 to 25. And that is my annexure A, my lord. Copy of memo number 656 annexure A. And on 19 to 25, these office again sought for report from Pradhan of Raipur, Gram Panchayat regarding the complaint filed by PASA Enterprise and others within 24 to 25 and directed not to issue any work order and payment without prior approval of the undersigned by memo 731 entry date 1920.
Cognizance has been
And that
taken.
is the annexure B, my
Congratulations.
lord. That is
Yes.
annexure B, my lord. That is annexure B issued by block development officer, now the development block.
Okay. Now this has been proceeded with.
Yes. That
Yes,
is
sir.
yet, that is yet to finalize.
The instance of the petition and this partnership house. A petition has been filed. The petition are knowing fully well about the terms and condition of the tender participation in the tender. The tender notice it is specifically stated that registered deed of partnership shall be uploaded. They have not uploaded the registered partnership. They have uploaded the non-registered deed of partnership. Now kindly consider number 98. Already placed.
Clause 7.
Clause 7. The partnership firm shall upload the registered partnership deed and the company must furnish the article of association. Management is to participate without producing the registered deed of partnership. He has to challenge this particular notification without participating in the auction process. After declaring as unsuccessful in the tender process, he challenge this notice. He cannot do so.
Yes.
He has no right to challenge this after participating in the tender process.
Yes.
Okay. That's all.
One thing that individual capacity file this writ petition. Being a partner of the firm, he has filed, because your lordship knows a partnership firm which is not registered, he cannot file a writ petition. That is to be by one of the partner. And that has been done exactly in this present case. So the first objection that goes. And clause 7, my learned friend is showing for lordship, let him show a single clause which says only the individuals and the registered partnerships are allowed to participate. It says individual, partnership firm, even a partner of the firm. I mean, another clause in 7, you are saying you have to upload all these things, which is not applicable, which doesn't come under the purview of that procurement manual. So the interpretation as is being made by you, that's incorrect. And you know it very well. That's why you made absence of the technical persons at the time of opening of this technical bid.
Okay. Affidavit of service.
Yes. Right.
My lord, kindly take on records the report submitted by the state.
Okay. Affidavit of service filed on behalf of the petitioner is taken on record. The writ petition is filed for quashing and or setting aside of e-tender notice being number 10/Raipur GP 24-25 dated 2nd January 2025. Of the which Gram Panchayat is? Raipur, no?
Raipur Gram Panchayat.
Of
Raipur
Raipur Gram Panchayat.
GP. Raipur Gram.
Yes. The petitioner contends that he is the partner of
Pasha Enterprise,
Passer Enterprise,
an unregistered
running unregistered partnership firm, running business as government contractor and general order suppliers, having office within Nauda Block Development District, Murshidabad. The petitioner participated in the e-tender notice inviting e-tender being e-tender number 10 Raipur GP / 2024-25 for issued for implementation of the construction of pathway of CC road from Ansar Sheikh House to Monosha Mandir at Alampur under Raipur GP activity. ID 89348097. The bids of the petitioner was rejected on the ground of non-submission of registered deed of partnership. Being aggrieved by such rejection, the petitioner has preferred the present writ petition. Mohammad Sarwar Jahan, learned advocate, appearing for the petitioner. Referring to clause 6.7.1 of the Procurement Manual
2014,
submits that there is no requirement for submission of registered deed of partnership. As per the rule, an individual, firm or company who intends to participate in a tender process for works against any particular program or scheme should have following basic requirements, namely valid VAT registration certificate, PAN with last 3 years income tax return, professional tax registration certificate with current challan, and trade registration certificate / license from local body. The manual never provides that the individual firm or company has to submit registered partnership deed. He further indicates that the rejection has been made by page number
it's at page 330.
has been made by authorities who are not the executive engineer,
Executive officer or
executive officer or Nirman Sahayak as required under clause 6.5 subclause 4, and therefore the decision making process is sort of legality. The issues raised as above were represented before the
block
block
development
development
officer,
officer, now the block development
being the respond number 8
being respond number 8 on
is 29.
on
27 January
27 January 2025. However, no steps has been taken. He seeks that the matter be relegated to respond number 8 block development officer, now the block development, for inquiry. Learned advocate for the state, Miss So and so, learned advocate for the state, appearing through virtual mode, submit that after receipt of the complaint from the petitioner, the block development officer has called for the records of the documents from the Pradhan Raipur Gram Panchayat. However, such documents have not been placed till date. The block development officer has also directed the Pradhan not to issue any work order and payment without prior approval of the block development officer. She seeks that the matter may be relegated to the block development officer to cause specific inquiry regarding the allegations and issues raised by the petitioner. On the contrary, learned advocate for the Pradhan, who is respond number 11, Pradhan Raipur Gram Panchayat, submits that the petitioners participated in the e-tender upon perusal of all the eligibility criteria. Upon such rejection, the petitioner has raised the issue that there cannot be any requirement of registered partnership deed. Moreover, the partnership firm has not filed the writ petition. The notification, e-tender notification, has not been challenged by the petitioner. He seeks for dismissal of the writ petition. Admittedly, the petitioner participated in the e-tender in notice inviting e-tender number 10/Raipur GP/2024-25. It is a fact that in the eligibility criteria, it has been mentioned that the partnership firm shall upload the registered partnership deed and the company must furnish the article of association and memorandum. The bid of the petitioner has been rejected on the basis of non-submission of registered partnership deed. Be that as it may, as per the Procurement Manual 2014, clause 6.7.1, এটাই clause লাগিয়ে when an individual, firm or company intends to participate in a tender process for works against any particular program or scheme, should have the following basic requirements. A, B, C, D, এই অবধি পুরো করে দেবেন, হ্যাঁ? আর বলছি না, উনি সাবমিট করেছেন। Further, clause 4 of Rule 6.5 provides that all tenders received in time shall be opened in presence of attending bidders at the time and place as stated in the notice. by a committee of any two or more functionaries, members or employees of the Gram Panchayat, as may be authorized by the Ortho o Porikalpona Uposomiti. Stop. It is mandatory that Ortho o Porikalpona Uposomiti shall exercise authorize executive assistant, GP secretary, within bracket, in the event of the post of EA remaining vacant, bracket close, Nirman Sahayak and one member of the opposition for this purpose. The document annexed to the writ petition at page 30 shows that the document does not bear the signatures of the officers as required under the rule, namely executive assistant,
Sahayok as well,
Nirman Sahayak
and the executive.
and executive assistant. Therefore, primarily, it appears that the decision-making process is sort of legality. This court finds substance in submission of Mr. Jahan that since the partnership firm was not registered, one of the partners have filed the writ petition. From the report of the state, it is found that the block development officer has already taken steps calling for the records from the Pradhan Raipur Gram Panchayat. In light of the above, this court finds that the issues as raised by the petitioner in their representation stated 27 January 2025 requires to be examined and inquired into by the concerned authority. In light of the above, agar similar or correlation 2 months time, agar একটা matter করেছি, block development officer will inquire into the matter. 2 months time দেবেন, 2 months to inquire and take steps accordingly.
The
Pradhan is
previous matter WP number 60
60 6035.
আমি লিখে দিচ্ছি।
Parties be at liberty to produce the documents. Disposed of.
Gratefully, Your Lordship.
Next.
Item number 45.
Item number 45 more I am for the petitioner. Well, here two petitioners are there. Tender process by the self-same Gram Panchayat. Now, your lordship will get the NIT at page 20.
Yes.
And the rejection.
No, which are the works you have participated in?
Okay. If your lordship's, that is serial number 3.
Screen.
Serial number 3. Serial number 3 by the Malot Karikor Construction. And another is called Cheetah. Team code 8309. এখানে পাওয়া যাবে এগুলো। Serial number 4, my lord.
3 and 4.
3 and 4. Serial number 3 and 4. 3 by Karikor and 4 by my lord Abdul Latif, the two petitioners before lordship. Now, my lord, our complaint is at page 31 and 33. Similarity in this complaint that the absence of those officials at the time of finalization of technical bid.
It says professional tax certificate not up to date.
A professional tax certificate is not uploaded. That is one of the contention of the authorities. Kindly have a look, page 29. Page 29 is my tax certificate, and that was not uploaded. That's my claim.
This is which year? Current?
And here, my lord. 13th of September 2024. Right hand side bottom.
24-25.
Yes. Now the thing is this. My lord, when we made an attempt to download copies of other, the entire system was paused by the authority. And the same thing, that was the absence of Nirman Shoyak or others at the time of finalization that make the entire thing illegal. So these allegations are there, my lord. Let this page 31 as well as my lord page 33 be considered and inquired into by the block development officer.
What is 32?
32, that is in respect of my lord, the another Abdul Talib Mandal, that non-compliance with technical specification. The first one rejected, non-compliance of technical specification. Now, what is technical specification, my lord? That has not been clarified. If your lordship turns to page 23 or 25. 25, it says work order, completion certificate and payment certificate scheme named different in schedule, reverse in schedule.
Karikor is petition number 1. Work order.
Karikor is 2. Karikor is 2, my lord.
Karikor is 2. Abdul Latif Molla is proprietor of Karikor.
Abdul Latif Molla is another. Is a two persons file this petition.
And Sun Construction?
And consider it does not belong to us. On the page 26, it relates to my lord Karikor.
Acha.
On page 26, it relates to Karikor construction and installation of arsenic-free solar-operated water treatment plant in form of so and so. So that was uploaded by these persons. And page 20, next page, that is the certificate issued by the authority. Was interested with the work for the scheme, namely construction and installation of arsenic-free solar-operated water treatment plant. What he participated in, my lord, kindly have a look, page 20. It's a water treatment plant. Whether this work is similar or not, that is to be adjusted by the, my lord, specialized persons or the engineers. Now, Pradhan, Upra-Pradhan having class 5 pass qualification or even less than that, they are adjudging all these things, my lord. How could they do so? And with intention to doing this, they made them persons out of the particular authority or particular committee. That's the Nirman Shoyak as well as the executive officer. And let the inquiry matter be inquired by the block development officer being responded by.
Service has been affected upon the private respondents.
Everyone. Twice. One is prior to mentioning, another is after mentioning.
It is, and I am going to phone video is interfere, my lord. Video take steps upon the Pradhan.
Similar.
Similar.
And they are silent. They know that we have nothing to do. Let us sleep. That's the attitude of the Pradhan.
Oh. কালকে টপে রেখে দিও তো সরি টুমরো টপে রিটার্নেবল নয় এটা কি রিটার্নেবল আছে মোশনের টপে থাকবে এটা এরকমই থাকবে তো তাহলে এটা কালকে অর্ডার করে দেবো 3:30 হয়ে গেছে কালকে অর্ডার করে দেবো দিয়ে দাও you take the affidavit tomorrow this will appear that matter you was asking for releasing oh Mr. Mahata your friend where is your friend Mr. Mahata
We shall intimate.
540 540 की ये रखो returnable motion है 540 15th में तरफ 15th you will come back
Yes.
15th में
540.
Returnable motion is regarding item number 46. The next matter I am praying for. No. No. Oh, the same thing.
same thing is happening
Same thing. Yeah. It's running in the
come tomorrow come tomorrow we'll see hi sorry Bairesh
No, report here.
এইটা
There is